No, I don't know.
All right. I might start. You might hear me shuffle.
I hear that in every show.
I take a sip of my vino.
Or do you mean the curly shuffle?
I don't know what that is.
You remember the curly shuffle? Remember that video? It's like 1985 or so.
I'm not 100 years old, JR.
Yeah, you're 200 years old, so you should remember it.
Curly shuffle? Was it like a Globetrotters kind of thing? Like a Harlem Globetrotters?
No, there was, I don't know, it was on MTV here and there in the 80s, like 1985.
Oh, I didn't have MTV back then.
It was kind of like Pac-Man Fever. It was like a kind of a comedy song. I don't remember who did it, but it was called The Curly Shuffle, and the video was just a bunch of the Three Stooges with curly going over it.
We're not old. We're not old. It's like no. It's like you remember Pac-Man, right?
You don't remember Pac-Man Fever by Buckner and Garcia?
Yes.
Oh, okay then. Shut up.
Well, I'm just saying it's kind of tells everybody that we're old as shit.
That's why we know more than they do. Therefore, we are better.
Well, it's like Rob Halford says, you don't have to be old to be wise.
God damn. Yeah. Can you play the Rage?
The Rage? Wait. I don't know that one. It's kind of like that was like their reggae song, kind of.
Yeah, it's a good song.
No, I can't play the Rage.
I could see myself getting up in the afternoon from my tea break in England somewhere and going to a little pub somewhere in the countryside, listening to that song in the pub, and a metal show comes up. Go home, watch some Doctor Who. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's very English.
That's English to me anyway.
Sorry, I hope that doesn't annoy you, but I have to do something. Guitar is basically my fidget spinner. So,
let me ask you, and I know the answer already. Did you listen to any of the stuff I sent you, or watch that video from Dodhiemsgard?
I watched the video on Heimlich.
Heimlich.
Dodhiemsgard.
You watched it? What did you think?
Well, it's like so like I was just kind of like listening to it, and then a piece of lint blew across the floor, and I was distracted. No, it was what would you it's very ambient, I would say, atmospheric maybe.
Well,
call it atmospheric Viking metal.
They're from Norway. They were a pretty standard, a little bit more than standard, a little more than average black metal band. They had some different ideas and arrangements.
So kind of another, because I was going to say it. I mean, not that I'm really comparing them too much, but it kind of reminded me of Enslaved.
No, that's not an unfair assessment. They
like a more atmospheric, almost like cosmic sounding Enslaved.
Well, yeah, totally. And they were known for well, first of all, they were known initially because Fenriz played drums for them on like an album or something.
From Enslaved?
No, from Dark Throne. Fenriz.
Right. Oh yeah. I guess
and that's kind of like one of the things everybody knew about them, but they really were like kind of industrial black metal, like the band And Oceans, who are also, I can't remember if they're from Norway or Sweden, or not Sweden, but Finland. But And Oceans is really unique and different, had some different ideas, much the same that the Dodhiemsgard did. But this album, we haven't heard from them in 10 years. That just came out in that video. Dwayne from Decrepit, Dwayne Morris, what's up? He posted that video on his Facebook page, and I just could not stop watching it. And we talked about the artwork on one of the previous shows we just did, because I compared it to Mobius.
Uh-huh.
I just loved the artwork. I thought it fit the song really good. With the song, I thought, did you like the music? It was pretty much like atmospheric, kind of progressive dark metal, I would say.
Yeah, and I'd say the video, actually, the visuals are really good with that. Like really appropriate.
Yeah,
really
do that
live.
I was gonna buy that record and the CD, and they're completely wiped out on the Peaceville Records website. So now you can't find it unless you want to buy it on eBay, which is annoying.
Right.
What's that?
You tried Amazon?
Amazon will never get my money.
Well, they'll get my money. Let me just check.
Jeff Bezos, for me, will get a boot to the face. And that is it. And I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire.
I would, because he might pay me to save his life.
Nah, he wouldn't.
How do you spell the name? D-O...
Dodhiemsgard. That's notwithstanding all the little umlauts or whatever they are over the.
What's the album called?
I can't remember. It's
Is it Supervillain Outcast?
No, it's Abyss Parahelion something or Black Current Medium or something, or one of those is the song, the other is the album. I can't remember. They're kind of like Dimmu Borgir with their song titles, I guess.
Yeah. Monumental Possession, A Umbra Omega, Satanic Art, 666 International, Black Medium Current. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's it.
Give me your address and maybe I'll mail it to you.
But you can't find it anywhere.
Fucking found it.
Where?
On Amazon.
It's
$39.98, but
yeah, it's a double album. It's there's pretty long songs in there.
Yeah. Black Medium Current, $39.98. Pre-delivery June 18th, 19th. Or you can get it on the 16th. And compare 3.
It's not released yet?
What?
Did it say it's not released yet till June 18th?
No, it's released. What's weird is like I'm seeing it. There's a used one for $66.66. What's the details on that? But I don't know why when you can get it for $39.98.
Probably because someone knows it's all sold out.
It's not sold out though. It's in stock.
Well, it is if you go to the Peaceville website.
Well, yeah, but I'm on Amazon, so somebody has it on Amazon.
Yeah, there's a few people on Yahoo that have it, but
it's not used. This is new.
Well,
you want it?
Did like the music.
Oh, yeah, it was all right. It's not something I mean, it's like I had to be. I'm kind of rarely in the mood for. It's good though. Like I mean, I totally get why someone would like it for sure. So let's see here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll buy this for you, dude. Cart buy now. Let's see. Oh, I gotta empty my cart. One moment. Okay. And you sure it's this double album? So the cover has got like it's like a black cover with sort of like the like a spectrography on it, little colors.
Yeah.
And like a couple of planets.
That's the one.
Okay.
So I was thinking, well, if you like that at all, I think you would really like Arcturus. It's the one I sent you. It's a lot less ambience.
And you can just edit this out of the show if you don't want people to have your address. But I'm gonna mail it to you, dude. If you won't buy it from Amazon, then I'll buy it from Amazon and I'll mail it to you.
Giving you money, Jeff Bezos, huh?
Yeah. And then you know what you can do is whenever you get around to fucking shipping my order,
yeah,
and throw in which is whatever you want. You know, I wear a size L.
Size L.
Yeah, I'm not that big.
Size L. Condom, sandals,
everything. No, I don't wear sandals.
I was thinking. I have been listening to some Di Anno Iron Maiden. What are your thoughts about that?
It's good. Like I do prefer Dickinson, you know,
Yeah.
but but um, I mean, like, look, dude, he's the original. Like, I mean, you could almost argue that without Di Anno, there probably wouldn't be Iron Maiden, right?
Do you think that really?
Maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe if they didn't have him at first to sort of get the ball rolling, it wouldn't have worked. No, yeah, I mean, if Paul Diano, I mean, like I don't know, like who knows how involved he was with like booking and booking shows and stuff like that, but he might have got the ball rolling, right?
I
So
don't know if
could
he did. I don't think he had any much to do with it because they did kick him out for pretty much the opposite reasons.
yeah, I don't
Wasn't it
know.
Steve Harris's band that started it, basically?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always kind of been his band. I think even with Dickinson. I mean, I don't know. Like, who knows? Because I think Diano's style was probably more suited for that time, right? And then,
That's exactly what I think. I'm surprised you said that.
well, you don't think I'm that, you don't think I'm that intuitive?
Well, just around that time, the early '80s, it was
More
new
punky?
wave. Yeah, new
Mm-hmm.
wave and punk were kind of very popular in the UK, and heavy metal was also up and coming. So Diano's actually got sort of like a tough as nails, like a punk rocker ethos to him. The way he carried himself on stage, the way he sang some of their songs and the lyrics, just
Mm-hmm.
like Sanctuary from the Law and all that kind of stuff, Running Free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think he he was a better fit for that just that brief period before the new wave of British heavy metal really started to uh, kind of shift in that more melodic operatic style, I guess, of singing, you can call it, right?
You think Number of the Beast would have happened if Diano were still in the band?
No, no, I don't. I mean, it probably would have happened. It just wouldn't sound anywhere near, because I bet a lot of those songs were in the works, you know. Um, there's, I wouldn't even be surprised if, like, I mean, it'd be interesting if there were some like demos out there, with Diano on some of those tracks. But I could see him singing like "Prisoner" or something like that.
I don't know. Didn't maybe that could be. That's sort of
Or
like along those lines lyrically.
Station Avenue, you know, you could almost hear him actually sing over some of those songs. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was probably working on those songs at least.
22 Acacia Avenue, the continuing story of Charlotte the Harlot.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I guess now that you mention it, that probably is mostly all stuff that they were writing together with him, and it just kind of became
If
Bruce's thing. And
you could almost like just kind of imagine his voice over some of those things. It probably worked, but it just once again I think it's all the timing on that one. It's just the timing was probably right for Dickinson to step in and kind of add more of that soaring vocals. It'd be like almost like X Factor wasn't a bad album,
yeah, it was.
but you just got to admit, dude, Blaze Bailey just doesn't work for how Maiden sounds.
No, he doesn't. That's what I mean. It was just ruined it. He was just too dreamy and singy and kind of whiny. It sounded like the guy from Striper singing for Iron Maiden. But Iron Maiden, their music
But
on
his
that,
voice just kind of flat sounded to me.
yeah, it was just like all like ballads and slow, somber songs, acoustic guitars. I'm like, what is this? This is not Iron Maiden to me. This is just, it's like Iron Maiden unplugged is what I called it. And even the cover, it was weird. It was like totally different. It had like a
There were some good songs.
size model of Eddie being tortured, and
It was a cool cover.
it was
Really cool.
kind of cool, but they didn't match the music at all. The music was just
Yeah.
acoustic guitars and oh yeah, it was like Halloween or something. It was like no.
I think we both probably need to revisit that album because I don't remember it being like really like I think that musically it was still Maiden. I just don't think Blaze really quite fit. Um,
I don't know. That
or
one music wise is just. I don't think I know any Maiden fans of all that like that record. Of course, you probably do. But
I mean, I bought it. I do know that, and it might have been one of those things that I kind of forced myself to like because you pay money for it. Those albums that you buy and you're like, damn it, I spent $15 on this CD. I'm gonna force myself to just listen to it until I like it. But I do remember really liking the song "Falling Down." I thought that was a good song.
I had a
doesn't
psychotic girlfriend that bought me that record. That's also probably why I didn't like it. It was Bad Mojo.
Yeah, so see, you can't. It once again goes back to your distaste for Cannibal Corpse. Sometimes it's the culture and the people around pushing those bands onto you.
Yeah, but I remember that one. That one was just a lot of just slower, melodic, just not like galloping heavy metal that Maiden's known for. Plus, a lot of those vocals. It was like Fate's Warning meets Halloween, masquerading as Iron Maiden. That's kind of what the music was for me, and it just didn't work. And add to that the fact that it was like coming from Shithead X, and add to that it was at the time that I was doing my radio show, so I was totally black metal probably around that time. So Iron Maiden wasn't even again on the radar, much like all the old heavy metal bands, because they had all changed so drastically too. So yeah, I was just thinking about that because I was listening to Killers. That's kind of particularly one of my favorite Maiden records. I think I like Power Slave the best, but I'm really partial to Killers because there's a lot of good songs on there. Like the Ides of March, the intro, that's just really cool. Reminds me of high school, junior high anyway. Wrathchild, Murders in the Rue Morgue. And I remember going to it's another fond memory kind of it. When I lived in Texas, Houston, Texas, it was 1980, the year that came out, 80 or 81, Killers. My sister used to go to a store in Houston called Texas Tapes and Records, which was a huge, huge record store. It was like massive. It wasn't like a little thing in a strip mall. It was like the size of Walmart. Like it was massive, and it was just all like records and guitars and posters and 8-tracks. And like this is, of course, before the CD medium. There were tapes. There was just stuff everywhere. It's like all kinds of stuff. And like I remember seeing the first 2 Iron Maiden records, and I was like, "Whoa, what is that? That's crazy! What's this monster? It's like a rotten dude." And
oh yeah.
And they were a little scary because I was probably like 10 years old then, I think. So I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And so I remember seeing those. I never bought it, but it's funny too because Iron Maiden used to do appearances at Texas Tapes and Records, as did a lot of bands. So if you look on the album art for Somewhere in Time,
do they have? Is that one of the shops?
What's that?
Is it one of the shops in the background on that?
Yeah, it is Texas Tapes and Records. I can't remember if it's on the front or back, but it's there. Well-known store throughout the metal underground around the world.
Kind of like kind of up in Salt Lake, we had the heavy metal shop, and it's not unusual to see like a couple of those shirts floating around at Vakken or something like that.
You see those shirts. That's funny because ironically, when I moved back to Texas in the 90s, I bought a Kiss it was a VHS tape, of course, at that time, but it was a Kiss home video of just them live on the road. I think it was called Confidential.
Yeah.
And it just showed them on the tour bus talking about girls and writing songs and whatever and just making fun of each other. But Gene Simmons had a heavy metal shop shirt on throughout the whole video. I'm like, holy shit. Here I am here in fucking Houston, Texas, roasting my ass off in 100-degree humidity. Kevin Kirk's fucking heavy metal shop pops up on a Kiss video. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it makes you proud, kind of proud of that little institution.
But again, like I have to always say, like there's always Raunch too, and Raunch was around before, and he did a lot too. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't even have half the stuff we have or more. So it's both of them hand in hand, not hand in hand.
I remember Raunch being more like they were more like punk.
Seemed like it was a punk store. It was a skate shop and a punk store, but it was still a cool underground record store, and you could still find metal there. Like even to this day, like he's still open, and you can go in there, and it's more about doom metal and stuff there now than it ever was before. So
it actually kind of reminds me like I was just like kind of on a YouTube rabbit hole, just checking out like brutal death metal bands and Disordered actually popped up on it. One of their like I think pre Disfigured Corpse demo. Was that there? Was that the one you released?
I did all of them.
You did all of them. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I'm going to re-release it. I actually talked to Matt from the band not too terribly long ago. We're working together to find who has the masters. I got a hold of Toby, the producer, when we recorded it, and he's like, "No, I don't have it." I'm like, "I knew you were going to say that."
Yes.
What's that?
Was it Toby Salias?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sent him a friend request. He ignored that, but he answered my message and said, "I don't have it. I don't know what to tell you." I'm like, "You might have some other mix, but doubtful." I'm like, "Oh shit." So I don't know who has the master because I wanted to remaster the CD because the CD came out sounding a little more flat than what we would have all liked. But yeah, I did both the demos. I drew the artwork on the first demo tape, Within the Mind of a Mortician.
Yeah.
I also made them change the name. They were going to call it Card with the Chunks. I should have totally let them do that because I thought it was a dumb name because I knew everything back then. Still do.
Yeah.
And I did the artwork for it, and the artwork didn't turn out as good as I wanted either. So, I'm like,
Some of those like old bad artwork demos, from the day, they have a little bit of a charm now because they are so
Well, they
like,
do. That's the thing is like
yeah.
I see other artwork. I'm like, well, that shit sucks. Like, fuck this guy and fuck that guy. Their stuff looks like a fifth grader drew it. My stuff's not that bad. So, Anyway, yeah, we're talking about putting it out. I'm not knowing how yet we're going to pull it off, but I think we're going to do all the demos on one 12-inch vinyl and the record on another 12-inch vinyl, probably a CD, maybe all of it on one CD.
Yeah, someone actually just posted documentaries of Disgust 1 month ago, even on YouTube.
Yeah,
So
that record is it's kind of a cult thing, but it's funny because back in the day I couldn't, even sell it and give it away because that's just how it was in the 90s. It was so underground and everybody who was in the underground was up into black metal suddenly. So
is this the same band? Carnal Materialism?
what?
So there's another, so like a Disordered.
Carnal Decimate?
No, it's the album's called Carnal Materialism. So there's another band called Disordered. Let's hear them. Hold on.
Is it Disorder or Disordered?
Disordered, ED.
No, it can't be.
Definitely not. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Definitely not.
Oh, not bad. Kind of Black and Death, maybe.
How is that?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Another Disordered band out there, buddy. I smell a lawsuit.
Actually, there's a funny story there too. Do you know who Wild Rags Records is? You remember them?
Wild Rag?
Wild Rags Records. It's a record label out of California. They also had a magazine called Wild Rag, the Wild Rag.
Sounds
So
familiar.
it's a guy named Richard C. And he just somehow, I don't know how he did this, but he put out like records, tapes, CDs of just band after band. And like a lot of bands that very well got their start there. Like Blasphemy had their first tape come out on there. Psy from Japan, Emperor's first demo. A lot of death metal bands. Order from Chaos, their first tape was on there. Two of them, actually, I think, if I remember. I still have them somewhere.
Do you have any? Did you ever release any of the Savage Deities on vinyl?
No, I wanted to do that, but it was too much for at that time, I just couldn't keep up with releases. There were so many bands that I just got, like I told you this before, there were so many good bands I committed to putting them out, and I got a little overextended.
Mm.
And I wanted to do the vinyl, but I still can do it. I mean, at some point, like at this point, I've like fulfilled my commitment to just about everything that's been on the waiting list. So I want to get to those thrash bands first, Insane Aside and Slaughter Christ. But the Wild Rags thing, it was funny because Disordered, I guess Matt was talking to that guy, and the guy talked him into letting him release it or something. I'm not sure how that really went down. But then I saw an ad. One of my friends was like, "Hey, did you sell the rights to put out Disordered to Wild Rags?" Because everybody called it Wild Fags back then because everybody hated that guy. That was in the 80s when we used that word without really worrying about offending anybody.
Disclaimer. Mm-hmm.
Things are different now, of course. But one of my friends asked me about, I'm like, no, what are you talking about? And he showed me the ad. I'm like, what the hell? And it was exactly my stuff. It said coming out soon. I called the guy on the phone. And this is the thing, is this guy that runs Wild Rags, Richard C., he was well known for being a ripoff because everybody in the underground scene hated him. I guess because he would just take bands' music and put it out and never pay him or something to that effect. I'm not sure exactly how far it went and to what extent with what, but everybody hated that guy's guts. Like David Rotten from Avulse, the band who runs Repulse Records, really hated that guy. Like a lot of people had it out for that guy. So I called him on the phone. And I was like, hi, what the hell do you think you're doing? He's like, what do you mean, man? I'm like, you're not putting out Disordered. That's on my label, fucker. I still have copies of that. Fuck, who told you that? He's like, I talked to the band. I'm like, well, I released it. So sorry, you're not doing it. I'll fucking sue you if I have to. Don't even, he's like, dude, don't worry about it. Just go fuck your girlfriend and chill out, man. It's all cool. I'm like, no, it's not cool. Like, who told you to do that? You're not doing it. If you do it, I swear there's going to be trouble. Trust me. And he's like, okay, I'm not. And he hung up and it never happened. And he kind of disappeared after that. I'm not sure what ever happened to that guy, but
joke's on him. You didn't even have a girlfriend at the time.
No, I didn't.
See?
But that's okay. Apparently, I was so stressed out and angry, I needed to do that to let loose a little bit of stress and steam. But at the same time, I don't like being ripped off either. So, and that's the thing, is that's what he would do, is like he'd either like rip off the bands or he'd rip off other labels by releasing their shit. But that's the thing, is he didn't check with me, because there's a band I want to put out from Greece that's really good called Hierophant's Descent. And I know the guy in the band. He's like, oh, I already released that on another label, man. Don't worry about it. Let's put out some new stuff. I'm like, oh, I will, but that one album is so good. But he won't let me do it. I'm like, okay, but it's out of print. Nobody knows where it's at. Now, if that was this guy we're talking about, Richard C., he would have just gone ahead and done it. I didn't do that. So, and that's how I found out this time. Like, I talked to Matt because I saw this thing on Facebook a while ago. And there was an ad for Disordered coming out. I'm like, dude, me and Todd were just talking. Didn't you know we were going to do this re-release together? He's like, what? No. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I didn't talk to you in a while, but I thought we had talked about it. But so what I want to do is have everybody involved, like Mike Kimball. He can talk about how he went off the Dying Fetus and all of that, Malignant Inception, Todd, the drummer, have everybody have liner notes, how hard it was to be in a death metal band in Utah at that time. And just all of that shit. I mean, they,
Well, it's funny because like on the comments of those YouTube videos, someone was like, "Didn't Mike go on to Dying Fetus?" And people were like disputing, like, "No, he never went to Dying."
Of course, he totally did.
Like, yeah, it wasn't long. He wasn't there long, but yeah.
Well, he was there for a while. He was there for a good couple of years. It wasn't.
He wasn't. He didn't record with them though.
He did. We've talked about this. Don't you remember?
No.
He did 2 records with them. This is like the 3rd time I've told you that story.
I don't remember.
Damn, fella, you need to put that reefer down.
I don't.
That's why he left. That's why. Well, Disordered kind of imploded before that, like right before Mike left. They just kind of went their separate ways. Yeah, there was just some internal drama. It was just stupid shit, like usual band stuff. But then Malignant Inception was still around, so Mike started playing with them. And then after that, Mike just happened. I gave him a Dying Fetus CD because I used to trade with the label in Germany called Morbid Records, who strangely enough were a grindcore label, but they released one album by Dying Fetus way back in the early scheme of things. And I gave one to Mike. I used to hand him off like CDs because I'm like, I'm not going to sell these here in Salt Lake. Nobody's going to buy these. So
Mike Kimball was in the band from 2003 to 2008, according to Wikipedia. Okay.
He was in there for a good while. He played on 2 records, Stop at Nothing and War of Attrition, and I believe that he either or wrote some of the lyrics, did some of the layout and stuff, because he was very good with Photoshop. He was heavily involved in a lot of stuff with them, other than just playing. But he eventually left to go race cars. We talked about that, remember?
Okay.
Yeah, well, he was definitely in Dying Fetus. That is the same Mike Kimball from Salt Lake City, Utah, and now lives in, I think he's still somewhere back east. But I told you, I think he was almost going to get the gig in Cannibal Corpse when Jack left, because I think they had a vacant slot, and there was talk he was going to do it, but he couldn't because he was touring with Fetus over in Europe.
I wonder if that was I don't know if you've ever watched the Cannibal Corpse documentary. They talk about when Rob. Oh no, when Pat. No, what's God damn it? Who's the
I think
guy?
Jack Quinn left, and that's
Yeah,
when it was
Jack. When Jack left, and then they ended up getting the guy from Origin, I think. I can't think of the guy's name now. I feel like a dick. But yeah, it was
Origin or Malevolent Creation. It was one of those guys, wasn't it?
no, it
Or
was
Monstrosity.
Origin, and he's also in another band called oh my gosh, I feel like a dick. Hold
Look up
on.
on BNR Metal pages. Let's go look. They have all the stuff listed about who's in the band at what time. Let me see here. What album would that be around for Corpse?
Well, the guy never recorded with him. He just toured with Cannibal Corpse, and then they ended up getting Pat O'Brien.
Well, so let's see. Jack Owen played all the way up until. Well, wait a minute. That's not right. Oh no, wait.
Jeremy Turner is the guy they ended up. So they toured with Jeremy Turner, but I think they had some guy also that they were auditioning.
Jeremy Turner, is that the guy from Broken Hope?
No, you're thinking of Jeremy Wagner.
Yeah, that's right. Never mind.
No, Jeremy Turner.
According to BNR Metal pages, Jack Owen was in the band all the time, but that's not accurate. So, or maybe it was somebody else who left that. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Jack. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know my Corpse as well as you do. So
it's a confusing time for them, I think.
We'll have to find that out. But anyway, Mike Kimball of Disorder was definitely in Dying Fetus for 2 records and quite a few years of touring. They whittled down too from like a 5-piece to a 3-piece after a while. They had Vince, their singer, he left. Then it was just John, I think, was the guitarist, and the bass player started taking over the vocals, and then they were a 4-piece. And then I think after Mike left, they kind of went down to a 3-piece, and that was it. I don't know. Now I haven't checked up on those guys since then, but
I just remember the Mike Kimball. Like I said, I only met him that one time at Downtown Music. He's a super nice guy. I remember. I think I remember distinctly asking him about like if he feels weird. You know, like you're such a nice guy. Do you feel weird playing music that sings about this stuff? And has real pictures. He's just like, I like just playing fast and heavy, man.
Well, I remember you told me that. That's a funny story because if you went to their practice room, which is what you were telling me.
Yeah, he was just by himself too.
Yeah, but the gory pictures on the wall, that would have been Matt from Disordered. That would not be Mike. If you saw pictures of Lamborghinis and girls in bikinis and the cat sticking out of a bucket of water with the wet cat for the fur, that's Mike.
Yeah.
Mike's a funny guy, and he loves beer and chips and naked women. That's Mike. Mike didn't give a shit about gore and corpses and band photos and all that. So
yeah, he just loved to play.
Anything gory on the wall would have been Matt, and like everything else was Mike, like motorcycles, cars, women in bikinis, like the 5 girls in the pickup truck bending over with their business showing, between their legs with the bikinis on, the G-strings. I think the poster I'm talking about. But anyway, yeah, those were funny times because Malignant and Disordered practice in the same room. I mean, some of these people around the world that are so into those 2 bands, could you imagine? I used to go down there and I'd go down there and just watch them practice, and my ears got shredded some nights. And it's probably how I lost a good bit of my hearing.
Oh, yeah, they were loud. So I did. I watched him, and then I think Matt showed up. So I think I watched like a full. Maybe I watched a full rehearsal, or I think it was just him and guitar player, and then I think Matt was he dating one of the girls from Promiscuous?
He was indeed.
Yeah.
The
Yoko Ono of death metal.
Somebody actually tossed that idea out to me the other day, like that I should re-release Promiscuous, the band, like their album, because in all honesty, it wasn't that bad, really. I mean, it's not to say that it would have been bad because they're girls. They were kind of sloppy. I don't know what they're like now, but it was a pretty decent album for that time. And all-girl death metal band in Salt Lake would have been unheard of.
There were not many, like there's quite a few extreme metal bands, female. But
there are now. But at that time, Mythic was the only one. Mythic and Dercada, that was it. And there was like 1 or 2 girls and a few other bands. That was it.
It was a bad
fact that they were in Salt Lake City, Utah, was unreal. It was incredible, and that's kind of why I wanted to work with them in the beginning. But that everybody it kind of exploded and imploded, So didn't happen.
Yeah.
You can probably find that CD for
I guess.
it's probably pretty expensive too on eBay now or something. Promiscuous. I think it's called Monarchy of Evil, if I'm not mistaken. I have one of their demo tapes still that they recorded in their practice room.
It'll spell it Promisquez, if I'm not mistaken.
Nope. Promisques. Or no, maybe it was Ques. I can't remember. I think it was.
There was a Q in it. Okay.
Well, it would have to have a Q, but yeah, I can't remember that there was one or not. But either way, they put that album out. It's called Monarchy of Evil. They actually played at the Milwaukee Metal Fest like once or twice. They opened for Deicide here in Salt Lake. I've still got their demo tape they recorded in their basement. They gave it to me a long time ago. And I was like, this is pretty good, you guys. You guys want to put out a tape or something? And they're like, really? You want to do it? I'm like, well, yeah, it's fucking good. Why not? They seemed a little not surprised that because it was all girls, but I don't know. Like, it was a different time. You know what it was like back then. It was to be a girl in a death metal band, like it was all about your looks first. That's what any guy would notice. It wasn't your quality of music was number two, and not everybody.
But I remember they weren't bad. I mean,
no, they were pretty good. I mean, they weren't technical wizards, but I mean, they were a pretty good brutal death metal for Salt Lake City. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really have that whole lot, I mean,
that's what I mean. There wasn't a whole lot of that going on, and that's why I was never super into Wicked Innocence. I always felt bad in hindsight because they were kind of more to me, just like more like Slayer, that kind of stuff, and they weren't. But they changed eventually. But
yeah. So yeah.
And then Wicked, they endured the test of time a lot longer than all the other bands did. And then you had Undertaker, Dallas from Wicked's old band, and Colorado. They were really good.
Yeah.
There were a couple other bands too. I can't remember.
I went to elementary school with Dallas.
What's that?
I went to elementary school with Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't play the flute back then, but
I'm guessing he didn't whip out a flute during recess. You never know, though. I did get a kazoo for free in school one day for my birthday. It was a pink and yellow plastic kazoo.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it was brutal. Gave it to my sister. So anyway, that reminded me of another story, and now I forgot it because we got sidetracked. Oh, and then did you ever hear Carnal Decimate, the band from Salt Lake City, who were around back then?
I did not. I wasn't into death metal back then, really.
Well, I mean, if you go back retro and look, like I said, I had the bands on my label. All the bands were on my label that were heavy. So Disordered, Malignant Inception, Catharsis, who were ex-members of Wicked, and they were like early proto, like, hippie pot grind. They were way into like the pot and like open mind expansion, that kind of thing. And then there's another band called Carnal Decimate.
What's the singer's name? Because I used to work with him at Musician's Friend. Another flute player.
The main dude in the band was John. He was the drummer. He was like a really big, tall guy with really bright blonde hair. He looked like Johnny from Unleashed. And the singer was Tom Stubby. His nickname was Stubby. He was a little short guy. That's why it was funny, because they looked like Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, but white. There was a big tall one.
I just remember a hippie dude that was in the band for a little while.
I didn't know many of the other dudes. They was like guitarists. They would come and go. But those two, John the drummer and Stubby, were the main guys.
They're probably the last guitar player they played with, Jason. I forget his name.
Jason Romero?
No. Can't remember.
Do you remember the band called Rites of Passage?
No. But I was going to say that he asked me to audition for Wicked because they were looking for another guitar player. But I wasn't into death metal at the time, but he heard me play. He's like, dude, you should come play. Looking back, that would have been awesome.
You should have done it, man.
Yeah, but death metal scared me back then, man. I wasn't ready.
Because you're a poser. Yeah. Well, no, there was Carnal Decimate was a band before Malignant Inception. It had a couple of different guys, but their drummer, Tim Riley, is the drummer that ended up in Malignant Inception. And I had never heard them, but I heard this rattling one night. I'm like, what is that noise? And Matt from Disorder was like, oh, that's Carnal Decimate. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, that's the drummer practicing. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That's insane double bass. You should have heard it. It was like, duh, like a machine gun. I was like, get the fuck out of here. So we went over there. And their drummer, Tim, is like a scientist. He works at a place in town that does like scientific work on like lasers and stuff. And he helped me with my physics homework when I went to the University of Utah, because I had no clue, and he helped me through it. But he was playing double bass like it was nothing. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? This guy is incredible, man. And so I put out a 2-song tape by that band, Carnal Decimate, and it was really good.
Did they rehearse it downtown?
Yeah, they did. And then they had a guitarist in their band named Jason Romero, who was pretty popular in the scene. And he had a band later called Rites of Passage that was very much more like Fate's Warning, that kind of stuff.
Did he have a sticker on his guitar case that said "Choose Death"?
Maybe, I don't know. I do not remember that, but
I remember a band.
But Jason Romero was like really, really good guitarist, like really talented. He was way beyond death metal. Like he was like Cynic level as far as death metal went. So they already surpassed that.
Of Cynic level.
Well, they were accomplished, like very technical. So they put out a 2-song tape called Existence Mutilated. And I totally I found a picture of a skull like buried in rock in National Geographic from this issue. I still have it. Made that the cover. It was just a red construction paper cover. It said Carnal Decimate, 2 songs. I sent it to all the magazines and everybody was raving about it. Like I sold out immediately. It was only like $2-3 because it was 2 songs, but they made a whole album and they recorded it, but there's no bass.
Oh.
And I even contacted the singer recently within the last few years on Facebook. I'm like, dude, talk to Tim, your guitarist. Let's put this fucking thing out, man. Come on. He's like, Tim says, fuck no, and don't try to do it or he'll sue you. I was like, what?
Do you have the master?
Good. Why? I don't know. They want no part of it. I don't know. I have no idea. Like all of those guys, most of them just became recluses. Tim went on to be in Malignant Deception. Jason went on with his band Rites of Passage. All the other guys. And actually, their bass player was in Wicked Innocence. His name was Lance Mudrow. He was in Wicked for a while. Lance
Mudrow. Okay, yeah. I know him.
You should look up Carnal Decimate on YouTube, I guess, because I might still have the original master tape of that, but that's about it.
Well, then you own the masters. Then they have no say. I'll play bass on it.
Well, not the album, just like the 2-song tape. Yeah, that was the one where we were at Fast Forward Studios, and they kept like turning everything up, and then we had the last song out of the 2. Mm-hmm. I wanted Matt from Disorder to do some vocals as a guest star on there because Disorder was kind of starting to gain ground. And then all of a sudden, like everybody starts going into the room singing, and before you know it, there's like 5 guys around the microphone screaming and like their faces turning bright red, their eyes bugging out, the scream. I'm like, okay, everybody out. And I told them, erase all that shit and just put Matt's vocals. So Matt went back in there.
Oh, that's
that was the tape too, where I took it out to my car and I said, okay, guys, I know you want to have top end recording, but you got to figure everyone who's going to listen to this is going to have a shitty stock stereo in their car, probably. So let's go out to my car, my Smurf blue Dodge Colt with a stock stereo in it, and listen to it there. And it sounded awesome. And there you go. The rest is history. They broke up.
So, blame you for that. No, but I was going to say, speaking of Cynic, they're playing in Salt Lake.
I saw that.
On the 23rd, I believe. No, they're playing in Vegas on the 23rd.
I know you'll be there. You're going to be there, throw your bra on stage?
Yes, I am. And they're playing with Atheist, dude. Like, that is a crazy, awesome lineup.
Technical metal fans' dream tour there.
Hell yeah, dude. They're the originals. Like just 2 total groundbreaking bands. Las Vegas. Let me just see. But you should go. Let's see, where are the tour dates? No, okay, so they're playing. Never mind. They're playing the 16th in Vegas. I'm going to that one. They're playing the 23rd in Salt Lake. So sound well. I know you're a fan of like the fancy metal.
Yeah, the next show I am going to is probably Godflesh on June 29th at the Metro. After that, I'm done with concerts because there's no one else coming I care about. But
I used to go to Atheist.
I was never like, that's heard their stuff, and like I said, they're technical and all that. And it just didn't really interest me that much. But I know they have a history. But their bass player Roger had died early on in their career, and I think Sean Reiner from Cynic is dead, right?
Well, okay, so you're thinking of Cynic. So Sean Reiner, yeah, he died, and both Sean Reinhart and Sean Malone, the bass player and and drummer of Cynic, died
Yeah,
the same year.
Atheist had a bass player named Roger Patterson. He died like way back when, in like '93 or something, or somewhere like
And
around.
then they got Tony Choi. I don't know who they have playing bass now.
That's why I keep telling you to check out Pestilence from Holland, because all those guys played in Pestilence.
Oh, I know about Pestilence.
Do you? I thought you didn't know, because I told you Tony Choi was on their third album. Like, really?
Yeah, I'm not totally familiar with the license or their lineup, but no, I remember, I used to rock Spheres all the time, and I got into them because like when I heard Cynic, I wanted to find every band that was kind of in that sort of vein, like that proggy death kind of thing. So I once I discovered Cynic, I started to get into like Atheist and Pessimist, not Pessimist. Yeah, Pestilence. Sorry, Pessimist is good too, but yeah, Pestilence, and then like kind of later era Death. Human and individual thought patterns. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Pestilence also has quite the discography now too. They were gone for a while. They came back in the 2000s, and they just haven't stopped. It looks like.
Yeah, they're good. Their recent releases, it holds up. It's kind of in the they didn't reinvent the wheel with their sound, but they already had like they were already kind of groundbreaking when they first came out. So that's what's kind of the luxury of bands like them and Cynic have, is like they don't really have to because they were the innovators, they don't have
So
to
let me
like
ask
keep.
you this. Do you think that art on an album cover is detrimental after a while to bands like that?
No,
So you had
because
Pestilence, had Dan Seagrave artwork with like the monsters and the ocean of like claws or whatever the fuck it was, all that kind of shit. Do you think later on, when they're being serious musicians, even though it's still death metal, do you think that takes away from it, having that kind of stuff on the cover?
I don't know. Like, well, I don't. No, I don't think so. Because I'm thinking about the Pestilence albums, and I mean, by the time they got into Spheres, they were already really into kind of more of a almost like an MC Escher type look of their album covers. But
That's still a
Seagrave
Dan Seagrave painting on there, though. But yeah,
didn't Seagrave, he did the Suffocation albums, right? Like Pierce from
Dan
Within.
Seagrave did everything back then. If it was in Morrisound, it had Dan Seagrave art. So Gorgut, Suffocation, just about everything they did. Resurrection, Pestilence, Malevolent Creation, all those bands like Entombed, Carnage.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a comedy metal band called Metal Duck from the UK that had a Dan Seagrave painting on it. Lawnmower Death. That's
No, because you look at those albums, you like, especially like I think of like Left Hand Path, in two, like just is that a classic album cover or what? You know, Fucking they're awesome.
Well, here's the thing: is it goes hand in hand with the music, because there's a lot of bands that he did artwork for that never made it. Like there's a band from England called Desecrator, the early death metal before any of the Florida or Swedish stuff, and it was really good. It was good, solid, heavy death metal. It was from the UK, but it never kind of really went anywhere. But then you had Entombed, who had that album, and that album, like just the way it was just a wall of sound and that artwork, and plus because he was known for all the other artwork already.
And I think he did some early Amorphous albums, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think he did Amorphous. No.
It looks like his
he
art.
Mostly stuck with like the solid, like the American style death metal and all the more technical stuff from the UK, or like the more up and coming like Morbid Angel album, Altars anyway, was Dan Seagrave. Carnage, Michael Lamott's band before he went to be an arch enemy. That band had Dan Seagrave art.
Mm-hmm.
Gorguts, their first album, their first two actually, is everything by Suffocation more or less, except for maybe one or two exceptions. But I ask you that because I was talking about how I mentioned earlier when I was in Texas Tapes and Records and I saw the Eddie album covers from Iron Maiden. And I was like, what if Iron Maiden just put their faces on the cover or them standing there, and it was like a black and white photo? Would it have had the same impact? Because that's another thing about glam in the late 80s, early 90s, that they just put dumb covers like that, or it was like a cheeky kind of a picture of a girl or a goofy character like on the front cover, but normally it'd be the band. It was like a picture of the band with all their makeup and stuff. I'm like, well, that doesn't really make me want to buy the record, kind of, and that's why I was wondering, how important do you think album cover art is? Because look at what Eddie did for
Very
Maiden
important.
all these years.
And in fact, it's kind of the reason I'm starting to like man, I listen to all my music digitally, but I really do miss the tactile kind of thing. That's why I've been kind of buying vinyl. Like I
Well, I'll tell
decided,
you what, I just set up my record player and I bought a bunch of vinyl over the years, or I just have my old stuff from way back when anyway. And I got a new recliner, so it's really awesome to
Mhm.
sit there and just look at albums again and read the books now that come with like box sets, or just read music books while you listen to the music. It's totally worth doing. So I totally think you should go with it. Roll with it, man. Buy as much as you can. It sucks now that vinyl's so expensive, but I'm your
SV.
hookup.
Oh,
Your hookup, buddy.
well, yeah, and but like my plan was basically it's like I'm gonna buy some of these like LPs just as purely an aesthetic. So I'm not even gonna really open these. But now that I got like my first one, I'm like, man, I really want to drop a needle on this. It's beautiful, you know. Like the first one arrived, which was I bought Defeated Sanity's Passages to Deformity album. It's just such great artwork. I'm like, oh
Well, that
yeah,
all the care that goes into the package, reading the lyrics, reading the things list, but like the colored vinyl, I mean, it's all
yeah.
cool.
This is like a picture vinyl. Like it didn't. That's the only kind of thing I was disappointed with because I ordered straight from the record label, but it didn't come in a gate sleeve. It just was plastic and the disc. There was no like insert or anything like that. No.
Well, that's why picture discs. There's many reasons why picture discs suck. That's the one right there, is because you can't really look at it. It's all underneath plastic, and then also, I'm sorry to tell you, but picture discs they're good for a while if you actually try to play them, but after a while they tend to warp, or like they sound like shit anyway, but then they tend to warp and sound worse over time. So it
Well, I
really
think this
just
one
for
is like
collecting.
I think this one is like the 180 whatever grade. Like it's a solid disc. Like it's not a chintzy record. Like I mean it's a thick piece of
Well, it
stuff.
is, but that's the thing, is they have a big thick piece of stuff to go around the cardboard picture of it, and that alone is what makes it rough sound, and just I don't know, it's not the same as like an actual vinyl. Like,
So I got that, and then I pre-ordered the Cynics Focus. Like they remastered that first album, um, and are re-releasing it like on limited vinyl. So I got that coming. I got Blasphemachine. If you've heard of them,
Blast Machine, yeah, they're a brutal band from Malaysia.
yeah. So I ordered that one,
I heard the guy who runs that label is a fucking awesome guy.
and then I just pre-ordered
Right,
Extremes. Yeah, I ordered the new album from Extreme.
right,
Uh,
Mark.
yes, he's all right. Well, I don't know. We'll see if
You
he
got
ever
the
ships
Steam
my
for
order. No. I Extreme has a new album coming out, and I just pre-ordered that. Their limited
You know
edition.
what? I have a new record coming out, another new 7-inch. I just released the Shambles one. Oh, I should send you that, actually. You won't like the music at all, but it's super heavy, dirgy, doomy death metal. But it's the one I just released. You saw the pictures, I'm sure. It's clear vinyl with gold and black splatter,
Hmm.
gatefold 7-inch record.
Oh, 7-inch. Yeah, I was thinking of ordering like one of those splits or something. Just throwing that on there, but I was like, no, man, I want a full 12-inch vinyl. I need a split 7.
Well, yeah, I the record, like the 7-inch, it's pretty cool. It looks cool, and that's the whole thing. Is like it's just nice little gatefold. You can read the lyrics, just see what they had to say in the thanks list, just all the credits, just like the artwork, and it's all there. It's cool as fuck. But my next one coming up is a band called Stygian Dark. I should be getting the test pressings any day now.
Hmm.
And that's a band featuring guys from 4 different bands. There's an old death metal band called Dead End.
Hmm.
There's one guy from that, one guy from Swedish death metal band Wombat, who are pretty old school. There's another guy from Rolga Johansson from Paganizer, who are also pretty popular Swedish death.
Oh yeah, yeah, no Paganizer.
Yeah, and then the singer, and actually Rolga Johansson has other releases on my other label, Sutek Productions. He does an ambient industrial thing called, God damn it, I can't remember the name of it.
Good, that's a really good. Gives them a lot of faith in you. Yeah, I'm releasing this band. I don't know who the hell they are. Whatever.
Well, it's been a long time since I've. I want to say non-Servium, but it's not non-Servium. It's God damn it. Hold on 1 second. Non-Servium is another band on my label, and I just saw a post by them on Facebook last night. That's why I have non-Servium on the mind.
You know, there's two types of people in this world: Serviums and non-Serviums.
Baby, yes. It is called Evangelicum. That is
Oh.
Robert Johansson from Paganizer doing industrial and noise and ambient. I have built 2 releases from that so far on my other label, Sutek Productions.
That's like a Christian.
Dark ambient. So, anyways, the singer of that band, Stygian Dark, that I'm putting out, that's coming out in a little bit here, is David Ingram from Benediction and Bolt Thrower.
Oh.
Classic English death metal Benediction. So it's a pretty good old school death metal band. Cool. Took forever to put out because everything, like anything that could happen, happened. Like first the band members were like, one of the guys in the band was like, don't use this band photo. I'm like, okay. And he's like, wait till you hear from me. I'm like, okay. And I never heard from him for like months and months. I'm like, dude, what's the deal with the band photo? He's like, I'll get back to you. I'm like, okay. And I asked the other guys. And,
Law.
huh?
I hear that's called Murphy's Law.
Well, I asked the other guys, and they said, just use whatever, fuck him, put it out. I'm like, okay. But then that's when it was kind of during COVID. And then right after COVID, the vinyl industry went belly up, because not belly up, but it was just like unprecedented business. So there was like a year waiting list just to get your name in there for them to get around to it. And I didn't know where to go.
Just your own vinyl pressing machine.
I actually want to do that. I would love to do that and cut out the middleman, because it's outrageously expensive, and probably like 2/3 of that is just fluffed up expenses. I mean, there is some equipment and things like that you have to make, like lacquers and presses and stuff for each release, but you do have to know what you're doing, though. But for doing what I want to do, like just a couple hundred copies, maybe I should do that. I'm thinking about it. Easier said than done.
Yeah. Have you priced them out?
Well, it's kind of hard to find them in the first place, let alone know what you're doing, or otherwise everybody would probably be doing it. But
you have to just almost like make your own tool, find the blueprints on how to just put one together.
I don't know, but it's on the drawing board. It's not unheard of.
Requirements too is probably some kind of OSHA regulations. You got
fuck OSHA, they can suck it. Anyways. So that'll happen with it. And then after that, I'm like, I went to all these different places, because the place I usually use was like booked solid for like well over a year. I'm like, fuck, what do I do? So then I went to all these other places, and they were like more expensive than the place I'd use for less copies. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck you. And I don't know. So I just kind of waited, and then I bought a house, and I'm just like, that record was delayed like a motherfucker, like the bass player was even like, dude, is that coming out? We're about ready to start recording our second album now. I'm like, I don't know where to go, man. Give me some advice. Like, is there anything over in Europe? He's like, I'll send you a list. And I just went back with my other place. I just said, all right, I'll wait. So now it is in press as we speak. So it is going to come out. It's going to look as sexy and sound as brutal as they all do.
Cool, man.
I'll be sure to send you one, just because you
what's it called again?
True love. Huh?
What's it called again?
The band is called Stygian Dark. And it's a 7-inch. It's only 2 songs, but it's called Forensic.
Sick.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then after that, I owe one band a CD, and then I am going to do Insanicide and Slaughter Christ. Finally.
All right.
Which are the first bands I wanted to do in the first place, bringing this label back in 2013.
Do they have new stuff coming out, or are you just going to re-release?
Well, I'm gonna put out those old ones. That was always my intent, but I never expected to be like just inundated with all these kick-ass bands that wanted releases. Now they all hate me.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
make them rich. I think
Uh,
people outside of the U.S. and Europe, they kind of have these lofty expectations of what it is to be in a band. They just kind of don't get it that you're not going to be famous and rich and all of that. It's just a labor of love, you know. Speaking of which, guess who I saw at the grocery store last night?
Labor of Love, Dustin.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know.
I went grocery shopping last night and I see this guy with tattoos walk in. I just kind of give him a cursory glance and turn away, but then I did a double take and it was none other than Jake Rogers,
Oh yeah,
our boy from Visigoth. We both did like a double take, like, who the fuck are you? Oh, hey, what's up?
dude, Brian Slagle loves that band. Like he mentions them like two or three times in his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
actually, Jake was telling me that like they just got back from their latest tour and they actually made some he termed it spendable money, like meaning that there it wasn't just to put it back in the bank to record the next one. They actually got a little extra cash. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
cool, yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I know he. I think he bartends at Ace's High
Yeah, he
downtown.
told me all about that. I was like, yeah, like we talked about you on my show. I told him about Medley Challenge. He's like, oh yeah, I remember Mark. Yeah,
Yeah,
him and Justin from Category 5, they were totally cool. I'm like, yeah, he moved away to Vegas because he's on the run from the law. So we were going to come down there and record our show one night, but
yeah.
it
Thanks for
looks like I'm
jumping
going
on.
there to see Jake sometime soon. And
Yeah, Vegas, they're great. And yeah, like I said, dude, Brian Sick talks about them quite a bit. You know, he's just really excited about those guys. So
yeah, it's kind of funny because he lives out here where I live. I didn't know that. I thought he lived in Park City, but I guess if he works at Aces High,
but guess who lives out here? Brian Slagle. He's in
yeah,
Westford. I think I might have saw like so I went and saw a band called Winery Dogs the other night. Yeah, yeah, whatever. Yeah. But it's got like Billy Sheehan from, Dave Lee Roth and Mr. Big. And then the drummer is Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater. And then
Billy
the guitar
Sheehan
player,
from Chalice.
yeah, yeah. In fact, yeah, you probably like their new album. Um, but I think Brian Slagle was there, but also Eddie Trunk was there. Saw him.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Did you meet Eddie?
No, no, he was like kind of in like the VIP area, but he lives in Vegas too, Eddie Trunk. So
Does he? I thought he lived back east still.
no, no, he's in Vegas. A lot of
Yeah.
people live in Vegas. Like so, Eddie Trunk lives in Vegas. Brian Slagle lives in Vegas. Mike Varney, the guy who started Shrapnel Records, the guy that discovered Yngwie Malmsteen, basically, he lives in Vegas now. Jakey Lee lives in Vegas. Best guitar player of Aussie.
You better brush up on your guitar work, man. You could like be in a band with some of these guys.
Well, I'm only in Vegas for another month, and I'm moving to Wyoming.
Oh no, you're gonna do it?
Oh yeah, I'm not ready for Vegas. Gotta admit, man, it's just a little too hot, sweaty, and busy for me. So,
You want to be the low key like werewolves and bats in Wyoming?
yeah, yeah, where everywhere looks like a atmospheric black metal cover. The frostbitten north of Wyoming.
Yep, it's gonna be you and your black metal spirits and the skinwalkers out there.
Oh yeah, snow-covered pine trees and shit. Yeah, no, it'll be good. But I might come back to Vegas. Like my idea is to like really woodshed it and come back and just do an '80s metal cover band until I die.
I don't know.
I'll,
I think you should do it. Just see if you can open for one of those bands one night when they're there.
Yeah, and then, I want to record my own music and get it released through I'm going to have to create a subsidiary label for, the more 80s hard rock metal, R&B stylings of me. But yeah, I'll give you first dibs on anything original I do.
Fuck
And
yeah! What are you gonna call it?
I have a few names.
Cold
Um,
Flake.
Cold Flake. That's,
Yeah.
that's me. What do you want to do? A radio show? Just
You
call me
should call
Cold
it Cherry
Flake.
Orchards.
No, there's a actually, I don't want to say it, but because it'd be a great name for a band, but it's called what's it called? Because it's something, okay. Uh, there's a phenomenon called streetlight interference phenomenon. It's where, like, if you're walking down the street, it happens to me all the time, where you're walking down the street and you walk under a street light and it turns off. So I'd call it streetlight interference.
Now that sounds like a local band. I wouldn't do that. Don't try and be
Oh, it'd
jokey.
be it'd be streetlight interference phenomenon, and the acronym is SLIP. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it has kind of a good '80s rock kind of,
Why don't you just call it Metally Challenged?
because that's your radio show.
Well, still, you can call it the band too. We are Metally Challenged.
No, because I don't want to pigeonhole my band as a metal thing, because it's just gonna be me.
Oh, I forgot. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Me is kind of what it's like about, because I mean, I tend to play like R&B and shit, so I don't know why, but I think it's my dad's influence. Yeah, man. And then what else? What else? But you should go to Cynic and Atheist. Like, give them another shot. That's a legend. You will not be able to. Who knows when you'll be able to see those guys again?
Who knows?
You might not ever.
Fanatica is coming too.
Who?
Pro Fanatica on the reverse end of the spectrum there. One of the most offensive and hateful black metal bands in the world. From New Jersey. Huh?
They're going to Utah?
Yeah. They're going to Aces High, in fact.
What if they'll play nude?
I don't know if that's the thing anymore. I don't think they do that anymore.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a guy. Hang on, I gotta ask you about this too. Now that I mentioned that. There's a guy in Pro Fanatica. It's apparently like a famous like pop music star or something. Let me see here.
I thought you put them out, didn't you?
What's that?
Weren't you involved kind of in that band for a little second?
No, not, well, actually, what the hell is it? What was that guy's name? No, there was a time when I was going to be the sole distributor of some of their music here in Salt Lake City, but they wanted me to buy a bunch of copies, and I was like, it's too much. But
okay.
What the hell is that guy's name? There's Malcolm Tent.
Never heard of him. Nope.
Let me see here. Apparently, there's a guy named Malcolm Tent. Malcolm Tent. Get it? Malcolm Tent?
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Tent. And he looks like, if you look at him, the kind of guy that has a pop career or something that like teenage girls would be into. But he's playing guitar for Fanatic on this tour. And he's wearing corpse.
I'm looking at him now. Malcolm Tent from.
And he used to be an anti-scene, like an old punk band. But he's in Pro Fanatica, right?
Yeah, he looks like an old punk guy, yeah. Huh.
And that's funny because Pro Fanatica have totally changed their look somewhat. They look really interesting right now. I kind of almost want to go see them because their drummer and the vocalist has like this big red cloak on and like this thing over his head and like a big cape. And the two guitarists have like black, like I guess like a bodysuit that covers up their head, only their face shows through, and they have corpse paint over their eyes. It just looks a lot more interesting than how they used to look. But I was never huge into their music, though. That's the thing. But maybe it's different because this is all different members other than the drummer. So I don't know. Might be worth it to go check it out.
Pro Fanatica. They look like nice guys. Whatever.
Damn. Are we going to be able to do this show when you're in Wyoming? Do they have electricity out there?
We'll figure out. I mean, yeah. Well, it's not.
Might have to go into town, connect to the internet.
It's steam powered internet up there.
Oh shit, that's rough. I heard you got to get out and crank the engine every couple of minutes.
Oh, no, no, they use geothermal from Yellowstone.
Oh, that's not bad. There's a lot of
Yeah,
power there.
that's like Iceland up there, dude. It's awesome.
You could have a lot of black metal, just like mystical, like rituals and stuff out
Well,
there. No one would ever know.
actually, there was a black metal band from Wyoming, and I remember because I talked to the guitar player. His name was Toby Knapp,
I
and it's
actually feel like I know that name somehow.
yeah. Let's see, hold on. And he's like kind of more of like a shred, like power metal guitar player, but he had a black metal band from Wyoming, but I forgot the name. Let me pull it up real quick. You dig him. I actually liked him. The guy, he actually sent me like a cassette, and I wish I would have kept it because it's probably worth something now. Let's see. I'll pull up the metal
You were like,
archives.
this isn't digital. Fuck this.
Yep, exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, because he's from Sheridan, Wyoming, and the band was called. It might have been Blizzard Archer or Psychic Contagion. I don't know. Or From the Aether. That's what it was. It was really good. You should check it out. But yeah, he's from Wyoming. Anyway, yeah, Toby Knapp, great guitar player. Check him out. And that's Knapp, not NAP. You still there?
I am still here. I'm listening to your furious shredding. Fuck yeah. I have a drunk be beating on him right now along to that power chord. Those hot licks. There you go. Name your band Hot Licks with two X's.
I'm pretty sure someone's already done that.
I don't think so. And if they did, it was back in the 80s.
I don't want to. Yeah, I'll figure something out, man.
All right, fella. Well, I'm gonna see if I have anything I can send you that you might like other than the Blast Machine album, because I'm
But
sure
like I
I got
said,
something.
no pressure. Because in a weird way, I was kind of feeling bad, like for like putting you out. I'm like, oh man, it's probably not even worth the $16 I gave you for you know the shipping and just the
It's
manual
not
labor.
putting me out, especially if it's shipping in the U.S. It's easy to do. You just do media mail and it's cheap. If when you go out of the country, it's automatically like 15, $20 just to
No, but
engage.
I'm just thinking that it's like okay, it's like just the amount of time you put into it. It's like you're like I can't even like this ain't worth it. I could make I could make more money, collecting cans or something outside instead of you know. So like I said, no pressure on it. But yeah,
Well,
just
I'm
just
going to
just
find some stuff to
send it
insert there.
before I move to Wyoming. I don't want to have to change my address on the order form.
Yeah, when are you moving?
July 2nd. I'll be
Oh
heading up.
shit! I only got a while to send this. Then should I wait?
You can't send it in 4 weeks.
Well, I can. I'm just saying, are you gonna have time to listen to it and enjoy it, and then like throw it in the box and forget about it? I could wait. It'll be like right there at your new house. But
I told you I'm not going to listen to my vinyl. I'll listen to everything digitally, and then
I think you should totally get a record player.
I might like
Both of
okay because my plan was to not ever listen to it and just keep everything like in pristine condition. Because like I said, it's going to be like one of these days where I'm like, okay, I'm 70 years old. I need money. I got this pristine condition Blast from Machine album, that's worth $20 now instead of 16. And
yeah, I have a whole storeroom full of them, so it won't make any difference.
well, like I said, they could die in a plane crash. But now, like I said, after I got that picture disc from Defeated Sanity, I mean, it's so beautiful. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to you want to touch it with a needle, you know. So I
That's
might
when
start.
you should get like either other tracks, but like picture disc aren't going to be your best sound. They don't last too long when you play them, but definitely
Yeah,
hang up on the wall or something.
yeah, and mostly that's kind of what I'm doing is like I kind of want just the art of these, the physical art. But I might, because there's that ritual, of just like pulling it out of the sleeve and dropping it onto the player, and then putting the needle on and just. So I might start buying like duplicates or something. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Or buying used copies for playing and then keeping like the new stuff just new and pristine. You know what I mean? I'll figure something out. But yeah, but I do like that Blast Machine cover. It's cool. It's dark. Reminds me of like part of it's also like I had this dream like years ago that I was like in this. It was like kind of a nightmare. Not really a nightmare, but a scary kind of creepy dream where I found like this big box of like old vinyl metal albums. They were just the darkest, creepiest covers. I was like, wow. I just remember like looking through them. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like that, man. Some of these album covers are just creepy.
Yeah, there's a lot of old album covers that were kind of scary or just weird and trippy. And
Yeah. So, so
I
yeah.
always loved Judas Priest, Stained Class, and the original Point of Entry with the desert photo. But I also love the paintings on the Vandenberg album covers, the Storm Warning or whatever, with the sharks flying over the freeway in the desert.
Do you know who did those paintings?
No, who
Adrian Vandenberg.
did he?
Yeah.
I like the alligator one.
Yeah.
The Alibi, that second or third album, they had the crocodile bursting up out of the Aztec temple. That was cool. I love that picture.
Yeah, he's a great artist. He's like
Really? He did that? That's crazy.
yeah. Yeah,
I would like to get a print of that Alibi cover with the crocodile. That's a fucking cool painting. I really love that. I have that on my phone wallpaper usually in the summer.
yeah.
That's weird that he did that. That's crazy. I did not know. Interesting.
You know that song, Friday Night?
Bay City Rollers. Ay, Friday. Huh?
It's a Vandenberg song, eh? Friday night, I'm ready to explode. I don't know if that's the right key, but that's kind of like the chords. Ah, hold on. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know much of their stuff. I did sit through them live opening for Kiss. That was my first concert, but I don't remember much of it because I didn't know who they were.
He's one of my favorite guitar players, dude. His leads are amazing. Anyway, on that your assignment is Friday Night by Vandenberg. All right, brother.
All right, fella. I guess I'll be talking to you in
Maybe a week.
couple of months again when we do our next one.
We'll try to do it next week, maybe.
Oh, you're moving though, huh? We better.
Dude, July. Do you know what July?
I know. That's when you don't think about it. If you think of, oh, it's not till July, you're gonna be like, oh shit, it's July 15th. I gotta unpack my shit, and then you're up all night before the day you gotta move. It sucks. Moving sucks.
I'm also thinking like, you can mail something one state away within 4 weeks.
Well, I get that. My point is
I don't have a record player, so it's not like I do.
Yeah, that's right. Well, all right then. I'll fucking send it tomorrow then before I go. How about that?
Hey, you don't put yourself out, man, on my account. Shit. I only gave you my money.
You're pissing me for not sending it like in 4 weeks. Now you're like, oh fuck, don't put yourself out. Shit.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm kind of torn on it. Like I said, I sort of feel bad.
You said to take your time and wait, and I thought, well, I'll find some cool glam stuff I have that I don't want. I'll give it to him as a surprise. But now you're like, fuck, fucking send my record, man. I'm moving in 4 weeks. God damn.
I said no pressure.
I want to look at it on my wall.
I said no pressure.
God damn.
Sit on it for a year. All right, man. But whatever. But I don't care. If you can't get it in time, I'll give you my new address in Wyoming.
Oh, I can do it in time. I just want to find something else to insert in there, as the saying goes.
Yeah, dude. Just open up the old storage shed and just pick shit at random. Surprise me. Surprise yourself.
See, I have some stuff on CD, but I don't know if you would like that because you're a digital bitch now.
No, dude,
Digital
anything.
bitch.
Any tangible art, like CDs, increase in value too. I mean, it's all right.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right, fella.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
We'll see you later.
All right, later.
Hold it.